So the beast that was and is not is a suggestion that there's a coming king, a coming emperor who would be like Nero. But then we have the 10 horns. It's no wonder people find this book very confusing. Because you're given some little information. This might be why he says this calls for a mind that has wisdom. Well, it calls for a mind that has a little bit more than wisdom and has some inside knowledge as well. Right? That probably these first century people would have known what John has written to them. That we're left to kind of say, well, I believe it's referring to the end of time, to the past, and then figure out based on that. The 10 horns are 10 kings. 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom. Now, it appears that these 10 kings are different than the 7 kings that are represented by the heads. Right? The 7 heads are 7 kings. They are a different type of king than these 10 kings. Right? These are the horns on the head. But they have not yet received a kingdom. And in fact, when they received their kingdom, they received their authority as kings for 1 hour. Let's see, if I were king for 1 hour, what would I do? Decree that I be king for longer than 1 hour. Right? My third wish is I wish for infinite wishes. Right? So in saying they're kings for 1 hour, we're not talking about 60 minutes, but by saying they're kings for 1 hour, what's being communicated is? What was that? It wasn't long, right? Temporary. Might also suggest the instability of the reign, right? That they're receiving their authority, and so they don't have situated, strong authority. Because their authority ultimately rests on the beast. Right? The beast is what's giving these horns, these kings, their authority. And they are united. The 10 kings are united in giving their authority to the beast. And so the beast operates through them, but the ultimate authority here is the beast. Well, what's going on here with all this? Well, again, I'm looking at it from a predominantly first century view. Rome, the Empire of Rome, was divided up into 10 provinces. But also within Rome, there were client kings, individuals named kings who ruled specific regions. Right? They got their power from Rome, they owed Rome their allegiance. So I think that's what it's referred to. We can think of somebody like King Herod the Great, for example. He was one of these client kings. He was king of the Jews, but not through any right of his own. He was king of the Jews because Augustus named him king of the Jews. And so I think what's being suggested here is this idea of client kings. Right? There's this supreme authority who has given authority to these regional types of authorities. These kings are united. They have wholly given themselves to the beast. So much so that they will follow the beast in making war on the land. Now, how will they make war on the land? Yeah, so by focusing on persecuting the people, they are, in effect, making war on the Lamb. But it is the Lamb who will be successful. The Lamb will conquer. The reason the Lamb conquers is because He is Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Now think about it. The beast here has these 10 kings who are subservient to it. So in a sense, the beast is a Lord of Lords, a King of Kings. But the true King of Kings, the true Lord of Lords, is the Lamb. Right? And so ultimate authority resting with the Lamb, resting with Jesus. And those that are with the Lamb are called chosen and faithful. Now think about this. In contrast to the compromisers, the people that are truly following the Lamb, The people that aren't seduced by the prostitute and the beast, these are the ones who are chosen and faithful. Further explanation given to John about the waters. All right, so you saw waters. The woman, the prostitute, seated on waters. What does that mean? Well, the waters, says the angel, are people and multitudes and nations and languages. Again, this language we've seen 4 other times, right? This is the 5th time. And so you saw the prostitutes seated on waters, but those waters are peoples from various places. They're flowing in and out. And the idea of control tied up here. Right? And so it said waters, it meant people. And so, in one sense, it looks like everything is right in the world of the prostitute and the beast. Right? There's power, there's wealth, there's luxury. Right? There's the waters flowing in and out. But beneath it all, the 10 horns and the beast ultimately hate the whore. They hate the prostitute. And so despite this kind of symbiotic relationship, where everybody's kind of dependent upon everybody else, underneath it all, there's a whole lot of hatred. Now, when we think about it, think about those demonic locusts from way back in that the 5th trumpet. Who did the demonic locusts attack? Did they attack God's people? Right? So here are these forces of evil that are forced to kind of attack people, the inhabitants of the earth. Right? And so even though the inhabitants of the earth are on their side, so to speak, there's at base, that relationship is built on hatred. And so what's presented here is the same kind of thing. On the side of evil, what truly exists in people's heart is hatred. There isn't love between the kings and the beast and the prostitute. But it's instead this evil, this hatred. And so that the kings and the beast will desolate the prostitute and make her naked, devour her flesh, burn her up with fire, will lead to the destruction of the prostitutes. So is it that the 10 kings hate the fact that they're giving up their authority? Hate what the prostitute requires of them? Because they owe their power and authority to the beast and to the prostitute? Or what has happened, right? The kings of the earth have been made drunk or participated in the abominations, and so they hate that. Maybe here the idea is that the beast really cares nothing for the prostitute except for what he can get out of her. Power, more power, control. Ultimately, it will lead to the destruction of the prostitute. Now here again, rather interesting connection with ancient times. Within Rome and within Roman power, there were constant fears of those client kings turning on Rome. This idea of we've given these people authority out in the border regions. Are they truly going to use it for the good of Rome, or are they one day going to turn and lead to its downfall? But not only is this attitude present, in fact, God is the one who's kind of behind all of this. It's kind of like He's been the one who's fomenting this hatred in order to carry out His purpose. And so by agreeing to give their kingdoms to the beast, they have kind of fallen into God's trap, so to speak. That this is what God's using to bring about His judgment. That the beast, the prostitute, the kings are all going to kind of turn on each other. And that's how the destruction is going to take place. It's God's purpose that the prostitute be destroyed. And His purpose is to bring about judgment. So He encourages these situations which would lead to hatred until the words of God will be fulfilled. Right? And so God has worked circumstances so that this is going to happen, and it will happen fully. Right? He will succeed in what he has intended. So the symbols have been all revealed to us. The waters represent people, the beast and its heads, what they represent, and finally, we're told in the last verse that the woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth. It says woman, but it means city. And so we should understand, and it kind of, again, begins to all fit into place with the beast representing kings and power and authority, the prostitute representing a city, all of which is antagonistic to God's people. Most likely, I think, of course, talking about Rome. Right? The woman, the prostitute here, is the city of Rome, the great city in the time of John that would have ruled over the kings of the earth. But this is also why I think the full-fledged view that this is about the fall of Jerusalem is wrong. How could Jerusalem in the first century be said to have ruled over the kings of the earth? It didn't. And so Rome would make more sense if we take a first century type of view. And so there's a tableau presented here for John of this prostitute and the beast and the waters and other aspects that we talked about. And we talked about at the beginning that all of this is leading up to the judgment of the prostitute. Right? This is what the angel is going to be showing. When we come for Thursday's class, that judgment is kind of, again, assured, but now a funeral dirge is sung over the fallenness of Babylon. So we'll pick up there, chapter 18,